Hey everybody, welcome back to Haman's Advice Forum. I'm the Haman, and I'm going to give you my opinion about why I think society is breaking down. Now, if you remember the movie Joker, I actually didn't like that movie when I first watched it because it didn't match my perception of what the Joker is, and I thought it was just more of Todd Phillips's expression of class warfare rather than an accurate representation of, the comic book version of Joker on the big screen. But either way, I feel like when I saw that movie, and I saw how successful it was in the box office, it kind of had me a little bit worried because I thought, man, if this movie is that successful, then that means a lot of people resonate with what's being shown, right? And if a lot of people are resonating with what's being shown, it means our society is in hurt and in pain. And I've kind of ranted about this for a while now, even to my friends back home, even to my family. Like, when people struggle, you have to care about them, or else, bad things will happen. Now, I don't know what those bad things are, and I could have never predicted this, but I just know, just from a common sense point of view, when people struggle and you don't help them or even try to make an attempt to help them, bad things will happen, right? It's kind of like, it's kind of there. I guess there's several analogies that I can make about this. One is like, if you hit a dog, why would you be surprised if it like bites you? You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like what's happening right now. Or another one, another analogy I guess I could think of is that when if you're an employer and you treat like your employees like shit and you don't pay them, why are you surprised if you have massive turnover and a lot of them just quit on you and don't care about, quote, the company mission? And that's just society right now, and society's actually been that way for, I don't know, 20 years. And it took me, I guess it took, I'm surprised it took this long for the quote breakdown of society to happen. I thought it would happen a lot earlier, and I guess I was off by a few years. But just seeing, even in my own personal life, me struggling and not having enough money to pay the rent, or freaking out and just not being taught basic skills like how do you cook, how do you clean, how do you understand a car loan or some sort of a loan or finance or credit cards. How do you do that? Like, where's the people who are going to teach me this? The internet's great, but it's just like information overload, and I just want someone to mentor me like a real human being. And the fact is that the majority of human beings do not have a real community who they can trust. Their teachers don't care about them. Their family members probably didn't care about them. Friends, what friends? People who are, your Facebook friends on a digital screen are not your friends, right? You make active human connections by building trust and learning how to work and grow together. And for the majority of young people out there, their so-called relationships have just been kind of commoditized into a picture on a screen with another person. And there's so much, you can only be delusional for so long until reality hits in. And so I guess my point is that when you have a huge class of disenfranchised youth, bad employment prospects, huge student debts, people not being sympathetic to their struggles, not being taught any sort of basic skills when you're young, right? In your most formative years, that's going to be turn out to be a fucking disaster when you're in your 20s and 30s. And if, looking at these videos of these rioters and protesters and stuff, they look about 10 years younger than me. So maybe like in their early 20s. And that, you could just see how society has totally failed our young people, right? You know, what did we teach them when they were growing up? Just to look at their cell phone. Did we teach them any real skills? No. Did we tell them, you know, talk about the importance of cohesion between communities and families? Probably not. They were probably taught that they were annoyance as kids, which is why they had to be sent to daycare. Stuff like that. And now these, you know, people are now adults without any sort of real basic skills. And, you know, when you grew up in a community that has totally neglected you, you don't have any qualms about destroying the places that you live in. You really don't. And you know, I've heard the theories that a lot of these people who are doing the riots are actually from out of state, and I actually believe that too. But what I'm saying is that even if that's true, right, I don't think you can recruit a massive number of young people to destroy all the property and businesses and communities that you see, unless they, you know, you had great numbers of disfranchised young people who just don't give a shit, right? And that's what's happened. That's why society's breaking down. You know, in order to build up society, we have to teach our young, we have to teach our youth, we have to teach them actual real skills. We have to teach them how to make money. We got to teach them you know, how they can be the best that they can be, not just consumers but also producers. You know, how to educate themselves when new challenges come up in life. How to right, like there's so many things that we could have taught them. And I used to get in so many arguments with my people who were my age, and I'm telling them, like, yo, if you're complaining about how your parents didn't teach you X, Y, and Z, then it's our job as the generation who didn't learn X, Y, and Z to go learn it ourselves and teach it to the younger generation. Or else what's going to happen is that it's just going to be one big feedback loop and cycle, and society's just going to collapse because we have many people who don't have any real basic skills. And they look at me like I'm the biggest fucking retard on the planet for saying that. And, you know, after I realized that that's, you know, this indifference towards the struggles of other people. You know, people really care about themselves, about their own struggles, but they don't seem to emphasize that other people can have the same struggles as you. And I keep telling them, look, man, if you didn't learn X, Y, and Z, you have to make it your responsibility to learn it and be the first to step up and then try to teach it to your community, even if you're not successful. But people look at me like I'm fucking retarded for saying that. And this is why society is breaking down. Like, even if you had like a planned, I don't know, communist takeover of America, it really couldn't have happened unless you had a big numbers or a big class of disfranchised youth. You know, being a young person in America sucks. You don't, like, you ever see any movies that celebrate youth in America anymore like they had in the 90s and 80s? You know, how being the teenager was the best years of your life? Not really. And then you look at the statistics and you see that suicide rates are the highest among young people because there's nothing for them anymore. We've created a society where young people have absolutely no purpose. Absolutely none. And we wonder why society's gone to hell. All right. So this is How Man here again with another video. If you have any thoughts, comments, leave them below, and I'll see you guys next time.